Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's Paragon John, your favorite YouTuber, coming back at you with another video. You could have clicked any video on the internet, but you in fact chose to click this one right here. So, guys, I want to talk about the idea that a lot of people right now, in the current time that we live in, a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people that are kind of around the ages of like in their 20s, in their 30s, maybe their 40s, things like that, that kind of age range. A lot of people online seem to be craving content where it's just authentic. It's just like a person talking in front of their camera, uh, an average person who, is just like you, who, maybe they're sitting in their basement, maybe they're sitting in their house, maybe they're outside, whatever it is. Just a person talking in front of a camera, speaking their thoughts, being relatable to other average, regular, everyday people who maybe work a job and pay their bills and try to contribute to society as much as they can and just kind of live their life. And they're just like an average person who just kind of consumes media every once in a while and stuff like that. A lot of people are craving just real content from real people nowadays. That's kind of the trend that I've seen on YouTube lately. Is instead of all this, political propaganda or all this heavily corporatized content where it's like some, bought and paid for corporate talking head or puppet that's like trying to sell you something, or this, super in your face clickbaity content where, where people are doing the most outlandish, crazy stuff to get views, or, this super heavily polished editing content where it's just like crazy in your face edits and everything's like a big show, and everything's out here to really catch your attention super hard and watch me, like normally when you think of the media or media, you think of celebrities, like, and a lot of times that's what you see on the internet and in a lot of media outlets is you see like these super famous people or these celebrities that you've seen like your whole life, or you've seen all the time, all over the internet, all over social media, all over the screens and stuff. And, it's kind of tiring to just see nothing but celebrities or famous people or rich people or elites or whatever it is, like all over your social media and all over the internet. It's really refreshing to just see like an average Joe kind of person that's just like you, making videos and giving their perspective, rather than just all these famous people, these elites, these powerful people all the time. It's nice to see the average Joe is kind of getting some traction in the algorithm. It's nice to see that. We live in a world now where it's like, everybody that uses TikTok or whatever, everybody that has a phone, has a smartphone, anybody that has a smartphone can share their point of view. And that's cool that everyone has a voice now, but there is a dark side to that too, because it gives idiots a voice, it gives morons a voice, it gives people that whose opinion is probably not very valuable, an opinion that can be very loud and stuff like that. And most of the time, the stuff you see, pretty much most of the things that you see in the media for the past decade or 15 years or whatever, a lot of times it's just the most degenerate stuff, it's the most stupid stuff, it's people acting a fool to get views and all kinds of crazy stuff like this. It's just and I get it. That's the stuff that people are clicking on, but a lot of times I think that's the stuff they want you to click on. They don't really necessarily want you to click on stuff like this where it's just some regular person talking about their experience, and sharing their experience and oftentimes saying truthful things. That's not necessarily the most popular kind of content, but or it hasn't been, should I say, but that sort of thing is starting to take off now, which is very, very cool to see. Or it's like everywhere you look, it's nothing but brain rot content. It's nothing but stupid stuff. It's nothing but like memes and just crazy stuff. Like I like memes just like anybody else, you know what I mean? But at a particular point, it's like it's sort of getting exhausting and tiring to just get on the internet and see slop content and brain rot garbage and just stupid shit or just like goofy stuff, meaningless stuff. It is nice and refreshing to be able to get on the internet, get on a media platform, right? and be able to see regular people just like you making content that is relatable and authentic and just them, and it's not everything is some super hyper polished edit, or some kind of crazy high production value thing. It's literally just a person who's being themselves, talking in front of a camera, who is just like you, who has experienced things in life just like you, and sees the world in a very similar way to you. It's very nice to see that. A lot of people are kind of tired of all that sort of stuff that has been the kind of the normal thing that you see on the internet for like the past decade. People are kind of getting tired of seeing stuff like that, and I think it's really refreshing to see just like a regular average person just like yourself who just decided to hit record on their phone or on their camera or whatever, and they just talk to you, and they talk about things that regular average people can relate to. They're just a real person. It's obviously a person that seems like they're in a similar life situation to you. They have very similar outlooks and perspectives on life to you, and it looks like a person that you can relate to, or at the very least, it seems like you can relate to the person. That's what people are watching now on YouTube. Like, I've seen a lot of videos online come across my feed where it's just like a regular average guy or girl who looks like they're in a similar life situation to you in some capacity, talking about their perspective on life or their thoughts or their life situation or whatever, and it's relatable and it's super refreshing to see that. In many ways it's almost like we as a society seem to have this weird nostalgia where we want to like go backwards in time to the beginning of YouTube or like the beginning of the internet, or that kind of time period where YouTube and social media and the internet in general was just a more authentic, wholesome place where it was like somebody would do exactly the thing that I'm describing and the exact same thing that I'm doing right now, which was like it was a guy or a girl who would just talk in front of a camera, and just the most mundane, average but authentic video ever. And that's how YouTube kind of began. It was just people doing that, like people just regular average people taking videos of seemingly mundane things or talking in front of a camera and sharing it to the world. That's kind of what the internet or YouTube was when it first began, right? And that was such a wholesome time, you know what I mean? That it was a very novel time and very cool to see average people doing that sort of thing. But then it turned into YouTube and social media in general, and the internet in general, like slowly turned into like a clown show, right? It slowly turned into like this thing where it was like everything you see is some super huge corporate video that's like trying to sell you something, or everything that you see is just the most heavily edited, like super hyper ultra cinematic content, or like the gaming content that you would see is like obviously bought and paid for by some corporate entity and stuff like that, or it's trying to mass appeal to everybody with these crazy ridiculous thumbnails and titles. And when you watch the content, it's this Mr. Beast-esque kind of content where it's just like super quick edits, and wow, like it's trying to appeal to like a 12-year-old or something. Like, people are so tired of seeing content like that just flooded all over the internet and YouTube. So I think that's why so many people are gravitating to this, like, this content where it's just a regular average person talking in front of a camera, because it's so refreshing and relatable to see that kind of stuff. It's like regular average people just like you that are watching this right now are out here in the world, and some of us just decide to hit record on our cameras or on our phones, and now here we are talking to potentially thousands, or in some cases millions of people listening. I think that's what people want to see. And it's cool to see that. Like, I'll just mention a few different channels that I've seen that kind of are doing this, and maybe you guys are also subscribed to them, and maybe you guys see them on your feed as well. But people like Jet Franzen, or people like Melanie Mack, or Dapper Dev, or Terry Joel Jr., or Headspace with Spiro, channels like Truth Tiger. It's cool to see regular channels that are regular average people, who have regular average people problems and regular average people experiences, being able to share them to the world, and it's validating to see that sort of stuff. These are just some of the channels that I've seen where it's just an authentic like person talking, giving their thoughts, giving their perspective in front of a camera, and they're just a regular average person, and they're talking about this, the state of the world, the state that their life is in, the state that, what they see in the world, talking about their perspective on people, or talking about the state of the economy or the world or whatever. Like, that was what YouTube was always supposed to be from the beginning. And I think people are kind of longing for that nowadays, to where that's the sort of content that is kind of getting traction on the algorithm. That's what people are clicking on, is just they want to see some authenticity on the internet, and it's really rare to see that. Or at least it has been for the past decade. It's getting not so rare to see that nowadays, and that's cool. That's really cool to see. And odds are, if you like my content, you probably agree with what I'm saying, and you probably watch a lot of other YouTube channels that are very similar to this, where it's just a person talking in front of a camera, and they're saying words that relate to you as an average person who's watching this on the other side of the screen right now. It's just cool to see that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I think is happening. I think that a lot of people today in our society, and also a lot of Gen Z people, have this kind of, this nostalgic yearning for the past, when, life was simpler, a simpler time where people would just share content of themselves talking in front of a camera, and there was no edits, no cuts, nothing like that. It was just an authentic person being themselves, talking about something that's relatable to a lot of people out there on a screen. That's what it was. And that, again, it's starting to kind of flip that way again. It's starting to kind of switch gears and kind of go backwards in time a little bit in many ways. And I know I'm someone who consumes a lot of stuff like that. I watch a lot of content where it's just an authentic person, just like myself, who I can relate to, who's just talking in front of a camera. And it almost seems like it's personal. It's like you're sitting here in the room with me having a conversation as if we were in person, or you're riding in the car with me talking like you were sitting in the passenger seat in the car with me. Like, a lot of people are doing videos like that now, and that's what's taking off on YouTube, and it's awesome to see that. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know if you agree in the comment section. Let me know if you're tired of all this heavily corporatized, heavily commercialized, heavily propagandized content that you see online, that it's just everywhere. And let me know if you're kind of refreshed, and it's kind of relieving to see just a regular person like yourself making content, and you find that kind of stuff interesting or fun to listen to. So anyways, guys, my name is John. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe for more if you guys like this sort of thing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.